Today in the battle arena, well, we got two of the most powerful Avengers from the MCU going head to head. Thor is taking on Captain Marvel. So who's coming on top here? Let's find out. Thor, Odin's son, is the Asgardian god of thunder, the former king of Asgard and New Asgard, as well as a founding member of the Avengers. Thor is easily one of the most powerful heroes on Earth. It'll stop an overhand blow from the Hulk, casually break out of Surtur's metal chains while a large dragon was struggling to break just one link. And in his awakened form, Thor was able to restart the forge along the help of Rocket Raccoon and his spaceship. Thor is also able to throw an incredibly powerful punch, even if he doesn't have his hammers, Mjolnir, or Stormbreaker by his side. He's actually repeatedly been able to send Hulk flying backwards with his attacks, send Hulk flying through hundreds of feet of alien metal just one hit, and hit Hulk so hard that the mere shockwaves were the size of a large building. He's durable enough to take attacks from some of the most powerful beings in the MCU, like Curse and Ultron Prime, repeated attacks from Hulk, and even attacks from Thanos. Thor has taken blasts from Gungnir, Odin's magical and powerful spear, was at ground zero for both the Rainbow Bridge explosion and Ultron's asteroid city, yet wasn't knocked out by either, and survived the stabs from Hela's Necroblades, which had previously easily killed other Asgardians. He's even survived a Power Stone generated explosion, and survived the full power of a neutron star for almost a full minute. Thor's also surprisingly fast, isn't afraid to bull rush opponents, and is also easily able to deflect blaster fire and energy blast, and even destroy Hela's swords in midair. Then, even after having Mjolnir destroyed, Thor learned that he could generate lightning himself without the hammer, generating massive lightning strikes, and even destroying a part of the Rainbow Bridge. He's also able to amp his punches with lightning, sending Hulk flying through the air, generating massive shockwaves with his blows. Then finally, Thor helped to create Stormbreaker, which is gonna be Thor's coronation gift. It can freely summon and control the Bifrost, and just the sheer power of wielding it would kill weaker beings. With this weapon by his side, Thor was able to destroy large portions of the Outrider army, overpower a full Infinity Gauntlet, and nearly kill Thanos. Then Thor actually went on to cut off Thor's arm and succeeded in killing Thanos and cutting off his head. So, that's what we got in one corner. The God of Thunder, the former King of Asgard, Thor. But entering the ring in the other corner, well, it's the newcomer to the MCU, the woman who was able to take on Thanos alone, Captain Marvel. Carol Danvers, also known as Captain Marvel, is a former United States Air Force pilot who, upon being exposed to the energy of the Tesseract via the destruction of the Lightspeed engine, obtained cosmic powers. Danvers' powers are a result of having absorbed the energy of the Space Stone, gaining almost unlimited cosmic powers in the process, as well as essentially being a human Kree hybrid after being subjected to a Kree blood transfusion. Because of her hybrid nature, Carol is strong enough to bend metal and send people flying backwards, is durable enough to take attacks from Skrulls. She's even able to keep up with a speeding train. However, after gaining full control over cosmic powers, she was able to tap into her binary mode, which vastly increases her physical abilities. In order to gain this ability, she must first produce a massive amount of cosmic energy to envelop herself in, becoming essentially invulnerable and incalculably strong. She's able to push back or power a gigantic Kree ballistic missile, destroy both the Kree warship and Thanos' warship by flying straight through it, and even physically overpower Thanos. Captain Marvel is also durable enough to take a bombardment of energy shots from the Sanctuary 2, Thanos' warship, and even take a headbutt from Thanos and be completely unfazed. Carol is also able to easily fly around and dodge projectiles, fly all around Titan under a minute, and even reach light speed while helping Talos locate a new planet. Danvers can directly siphon her cosmic energy into dense, powerful photon blast, which is able to use to send Kree warriors flying backwards, destroy spaceships, and even use them against Thanos. Captain Marvel is also an expert fighter and combatant, being able to defeat 24 armed scrolls while in handcuffs, dominate Commander Talos, and even fight against Thanos while in binary mode. So who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, there's a big controversy in the MCU, where Kevin Feige said that Captain Marvel was the most powerful hero in the MCU, even though he's now changed his tune and saying that it's Scarlet Witch. But this rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, because, well, you've got Hulk, you've got Doctor Strange, most significantly, you've got Thor. Is he really saying that Captain Marvel is more powerful than all of these heroes? Well, today, we're putting it there to the test and throwing Captain Marvel up against Thor. So who's coming out on top here? Well, let's find out. And first things first, strength and physicality. While with Captain Marvel, she'd be able to destroy fighter ships by either flying through them or just by landing one punch. She stopped overpowered and absolutely massive ballistic warhead, sent it flying backwards. She destroyed both the Kree warship and Thanos' warship. Finally, she was able to keep Thanos from using the Infinity Gauntlet, and actually overpowered Thanos' hand. Now, all of these are insanely impressive. Carol did them essentially with ease, never really showed signs of struggling. And all this clearly makes her one of the strongest heroes in the MCU. One of the strongest. But vying for that top spot has also gotta be Thor. So, what about Thor? Well, he's been able to overpower Iron Man, overpower Loki, even momentarily overpower and stop Hulk, despite the fact that Thor was in a compromised position and Hulk had the leverage, was leaning in of all his weight. He was able to send Hulk absolutely flying with one good swing from a giant hammer, sending him flying through hundreds of feet of solid metal on top of that. And that was all pre-awakening, pre-God mode. After that, well, he restarted the Forge. The Devilier is an entire array of rings and machines surrounding a dying star, meaning it could be considered the size of a real small planet. And Thor basically restarted it with his bare hands and broke that ice just by pushing really, really hard, albeit with a little bit of help from Rocket and his spaceship. He accidentally knocked that Iron Man off a throw from Mjolnir, and Iron Man is tough enough to be hit with parts of a moon. He dismembered and decapitated Thanos. And I'm actually going to argue that post-Awakening, post-Stormbreaker, Thor was actually straight up the strongest hero in the MCU. Stronger than Hulk, even stronger than Captain Marvel. And it's all based upon how they scale off of Thanos. Because both Captain Marvel and Thor tested their strength against Thanos in Endgame. And while Carol did manage to hold back Thanos' hand and actually overpower and knock him to his knees, this doesn't necessarily mean that Captain Marvel is stronger than Thanos. Doesn't necessarily even mean Captain Marvel is stronger than Thor, because Thanos had got the Infinity Gauntlet on at the time. The Infinity Gauntlet had enough power to completely ruin Hulk's arm, kill Iron Man, even significantly injure Thanos both times he used it. So putting it on here definitely weakened Thanos to some degree. On top of that, Thanos was just using one hand, while Captain Marvel was using two. So impressive, no doubt. But Thor's showing against Thanos is just more impressive. He was in a grappling duel for Stormbreaker with Thanos. And despite the fact that Thanos was slowly winning, this was just because he had all the leverage in the moment and was pushing down with all of his body weight, while Thor was in a severely compromised position and couldn't get any leverage of his own. In most action movies, this is an instant kill. Once you get that leverage over another person, it's all done for. And yet here, Thor was still strong enough to hold him off. On top of that, Thanos isn't the one weakened in this moment, Thor is. It's been 5 years since he fought. 5 years since he last worked out. 5 years since he was probably last sober. You can't tell me that he wasn't weaker than he was in Infinity War or Ragnarok. And yet still, Thor was able to hold off Thanos, strongest guy in the MCU. So yeah, I'm gonna say that Thor is the stronger one out of the two. So now about durability. Well, Captain Marvel, she's fallen from outer space when she was still depowered, landed on top of a building, yet wasn't damaged. She's taken blasts from the Kree fighter ships with no problem, managed to fly through the massive Kree warship, while at the same time withstanding the explosions caused by its destruction. She's taken a multitude of blasts from Sanctuary 2 cannons that easily destroyed Leviathans and blew up Avengers headquarters. She's flown through a massive explosion caused by those gigantic ballistic missiles. And Captain Marvel was even taken a headbutt from Thanos and didn't even flinch. She literally didn't even move. However, Carol was sent flying backwards and taken out of the fight with a blast from the Power Stone, while Thor and even Iron Man took prolonged blasts from the stone and didn't go down. So that's definitely a knock against her. On the other hand, with Thor, well, he was at the epicenter of both the Rainbow Bridge explosion, the explosion of Sokovia. Took a point blank blast to the head from the Power Stone and survived another explosion generated from the Power Stone. He's been smacked around by Iron Man, Ultron, Kurz, and definitely Hulk. He took a punch from the Hulk in Avengers and smiled, and he's even been beat up by Hulk so hard that he begins to see visions of his dead father. Yet, in all those cases, Thor was never knocked out. Sometimes he went on to technically win the fight, like with Hulk, and other times he was just toying with them, like with Ultron. He withstood a massive beating from Thanos, similar to the one Hulk took, if not worse, yet wasn't knocked out and continued fighting. Then we gotta circle back around to the Forge. I mean, the guy survived to the heat, force, and power of a neutron star for almost a full minute. Nothing that anyone else has done in the MCU is more impressive than that. Arguably, nothing anyone has done in any comic book movie ever is more impressive than that. And while we compare their durability, both of these heroes have taken blasts from the Power Stone before. Captain Marvel was sent flying by the blast. Thor was able to take a long, sustained blast directly to the head. Now you could argue that Thanos was using more power in his blast to Captain Marvel, because he wasn't truly trying to kill Thor or knock him out, but just torture him so he can get information out of Loki. I get that. But you can take that blast, the Power Stone explosion that he survived, then taking the full force of a neutron star as the icing on the cake, and I think it's pretty clear that Thor is more durable than Captain Marvel. Now, don't get me wrong though, it's still ridiculously close, especially with how she took that headbutt, wasn't even phased. And then we've got speed. In terms of raw speed, well, no doubt about it, Captain Marvel is the faster one out of the two. She's flown at faster than the speed of light while helping Talos locate a new planet for the Skrulls. And when the Avengers went on to confront Thanos on Titan, Carol was able to perform a recon of the planet just a few seconds. Although it's just as likely that the Avengers had already singled out Thanos' spot on the planet, and Carol just scattered out a small area, exposed to her flying all over the planet in a few seconds. However, it's not a race, it's a fight. And a fight's real different when it comes to speed. Carol has never shown remarkable speed while fighting, as Thanos is nowhere near as fast as Captain Marvel, and yet he was still able to easily trade blows with Carol. And then when Captain Marvel does tend to bull rush or dive bomb opponents, that's not necessarily going to be enough to take Thor down. Also, not like Thor is slow either. It might seem like it, especially compared to other heroes, but technically speaking, he's not slow. In fact, he's one of the faster heroes in the MCU. He's blocked the Destroyer's energy beam, blocked Atari plasma shots, blocked Ultron energy blast, and blocked and destroyed Hela's swords. He's dodged Malekith's attacks, dodged attacks from the Hulk, dodged attacks from Thanos, and even just directly proven that he's faster than the Hulk by landing punches quicker. On top of that, he was one of the ones able to recognize Quicksilver's movements and actually move in Quicksilver time. Also fought at roughly comparable speeds to worthy Captain America, or even roughly comparable speeds to Captain Marvel herself. Thor also really likes a good bull rush too, as he's rammed Malekith, saved Loki from a black hole grenade. There's even possibly a mock cone forming around his hammer as he flew away from the giant dragon. Thor isn't slow. He just isn't. Captain Marvel is still faster, but looking at the way that she fights, I don't think that speed is going to be just a massive advantage, especially compared to Thor's greater strength and durability. But it's not just a physical fight. We also got to talk about their fighting skills, other powers too. And when it comes to Captain Marvel, I think we get so wrapped up in her physical power that we kind of overlook the fact that she's a real skilled fighter. She sparred and trained with Star Force leader Young Rogue. She's able to plow through Skrull warriors, single-handedly beating 9 of them while she was still handcuffed. Then Carol was able to fight and hold her own against Thanos. And Thanos is a warlord with centuries of experience, some of the greatest skills in the whole MCU, being skilled enough to fight against the Avengers all at once. And then her photon blast, well, she sent people flying backwards. Literally flying. She's blown apart spaceships. But in her fight with Thanos, well, I think the best you can say is she dazed him with those blasts. But then what about Thor? I mean, he's got his advantages too. Thor is 1,500 years old, grew up and thrived in a warrior culture, and has defeated countless enemies. And if you want to question Thor's skill, just look at he plowed through an entire group of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents while he was depowered. Coulson said he made them look like mall cops. Or fought against Hela, who had previously wiped out the entirety of the Asgardian army. And then he's got Stormbreaker. It overpowered a blast from a 6-stone infinity gauntlet. It impaled Thanos in the chest, nearly killed him, and later did dismember and decapitate the Mad Titan. And Thor will have absolutely no problem doing the exact same thing here. Thanos is already more durable than Captain Marvel, so the axe should injure Carol just for that reason alone, especially since she really has no piercing durability to speak of. Then there's his lightning. It's been able to take down a Leviathan, whereas Jarvis told Tony that the Iron Man suit would run out of energy before he pierced the hide. He helped melt Ultron's vibranium body, summoned a giant lightning blast that was basically the size of a mountain, and even staggered Thanos with a lightning blast. Thor also managed to destroy Sokovia with a lightning amped hit from Mjolnir and turn it into rubble. Then he pierced through the Rainbow Bridge with just one blast, whereas previously it had taken around 10 hits from Mjolnir to break through that bridge. Thor is also able to amp his punches with lightning, and he was able to use these to just absolutely wail on Hulk. Lightning is also a great counter against Carol's speed and the possibility of a speed blitz, considering that he can basically create a lightning shield around him in some ways. So, end of the day, who's coming on top here? Well, I don't want to get too political or whatever, but I think if this fight actually took place in the MCU, Captain Marvel would win because feminism or something like that. But based upon what they've done, based upon how they scaled off of Thanos, based upon just the sheer power that Thor is packing, just based upon feats, Thor's better. He's tougher, he's stronger, and I'll always take Lightning and Stormbreaker over Cosmic Power. So yeah, I believe Thor's coming out on top here, claiming his rightful place as the most powerful hero in the MCU. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts. Sound off in the comments down below. Also, be sure to like button, subscribe button, and turn notification on the FanCo Army. And I will see y'all next time.